G'day guys, I hope you're doing well. In today's session we'll be talking with Tiana Spice, our Memberships and Communications Manager from Tennis New South Wales. We'll be discussing member protection and child safety. As I'm sure you'd understand, it's a super important topic for all of us and our clubs. So I hope you take some good notes on this one. All right, and welcome Tiana. Great to have you here today.
Thanks, Mark.
So today we're talking about probably what I'd regard as the most important topic for any club, committee, any business, no matter what industry you're in, and that's member protection and child safety. So Tiana, you're our Member Protection Information Officer for Tennis New South Wales, yes?
Yep.
So can you explain your role and what you do within that?
Yeah, so I guess more broadly, my role is Membership and Communications Manager, but within that sits the role of Member Protection Information Officer. And I guess what that means in terms of our relationship with clubs is that I'm the one that will filter any queries or questions or concerns that a club might have in relation to member protection. So in an ideal world, every club has a member protection information officer themselves. And that's the person, I guess, that any members or children, if they have any issues, will make those complaints or report those issues to the club member protection information officer. And I guess we're here, my role as a member protection information officer more broadly for the state is to provide support to those people at club level. And any, I guess, concerns or issues that they feel not comfortable dealing with, we then take on and escalate if we need to.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So speaking about the Member Protection Information Officer, how does a club, I guess, nominate someone, and how do they become an MPIO?
Yeah, so I guess it's one of those things that some people, I guess, have concerns around because they feel like it puts a lot of responsibility or weight on their shoulders, which isn't the case. That's quite a misconception. A member protection information officer should be delegated to someone who is trustworthy and the club's comfortable with, having that person liaise with children or members in general. And I think that one of the most important parts of having a member protection information officer is having someone that is bright and bubbly and is willing to reach out and promote themselves as that person so that everybody knows that that's the person that they can trust with their concerns. So if a club wanted to appoint a member protection information officer, the first thing that they should do is pick someone that they think that would suit that role quite well. And from there, they can do a member protection information officer course. It's provided by the Office of Sport, and it's got two components. So it's got an online component and it's got a face-to-face component. So the online component is just a short online course through Play by the Rules. And you can access that if you type in Member Protection Information Officer New South Wales in Google, all this information will come up for you. The second component is a face-to-face workshop, and that covers things like the roles and responsibilities of a member protection information officer, how to listen and respond, how to promote yourself and communicate with people, things around conflict of interest and all those types of things. Those face-to-face workshops are conducted all around the state and super regularly. Obviously not at the moment because no one's meeting face-to-face, but in general they're always being run, and they're run all across the state, so regional, rural, everywhere. They're provided by the Office of Sport. They're facilitated by the Office of Sport, and they're really, really useful. It's not heavy. It's not super labour intensive, but it's a great skill builder. And that provides you with, I guess, all the information and all the tools and the skills that you need to be able to essentially effectively listen to people, take on their complaint, report it if necessary. But the thing that I really want to stress is that, whenever a member protection information officer at club level is uncomfortable, they can always bring it straight to us. And as soon as they bring it to us, it's off them. It's them with us and for us to deal with. Yeah. So that's how you go about becoming an MPIO. And yeah, I think the first place to start is identifying that person at club level that you think fits the role well.
Yeah, and obviously, I guess having an MPIO is a best practice measure. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, from a Tennis New South Wales perspective, we ask all of our members to provide us with working with children check numbers for all of their committee members, staff, volunteers, coaches. And that's, we sort of brought that in a few years ago, and we're now at 100% completion. So that's been a really, really effective tool, and a really good, I think, learning piece for a lot of clubs, and certainly for us, around the importance of these things. And it's just providing an extra layer of, you know, safeguarding for our children and our members. So, you know, best practice for us is being able to provide those working with children checks and having a member protection officer at each club that can take on the responsibility of dealing with complaints.
Yep.
You know, and you'd be surprised, like, it sounds very, you know, serious, and like there's a lot of, you know, sometimes it's just listening to people, and it's not about mediating, it's not about investigating, it's just about listening and, you know, providing support, and then moving it on if you do think it's of a serious nature. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's such a great point that you've touched on a couple of times there, that the fact that the weight of responsibility doesn't sit on that MPIO's shoulders. There are other avenues that can come up to you, and then that can be escalated further within the tennis team, which is great
Absolutely.
to know. So speaking more about best practice, what are some of the other best practice things that we recommend in terms of member protection and child safety?
Yeah, we have a whole range of resources and marketing tools. I think, you know, best practice would be to be displaying your member protection and safeguarding children posters at your clubhouse and within your facility. So Tennis New South Wales has a range of sort of marketing support tools that we can provide you with, and that we, you know, provide to all clubs. And that's got, you know, information on who they can contact at a state level and at a club level. So I think best practice is having those all in place, you know, firstly. Having that person that people can make complaints or go to for support, so that member protection information officer. Providing member protection policies and safeguarding children commitment statements on your club website is also really important. And that's something that we can help with too. So the Tennis New South Wales website has, you know, a plethora of resources and, you know, club support stuff, policies that clubs can access.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, you know, posters, communication, promotion, having a member protection information officer, having working with children checks for all your volunteers, committee members, employees. Mm-hmm. And I guess the communication piece is that big one, and that's what sets you know, some clubs apart from the rest, is their ability to be able to communicate with their members what's available and the support available. So it's, you know, having those building blocks in place and then being able to communicate it to your members to say, this is what's available, you know, you're not alone, because all that's just really for nothing if the members don't know that it's there.
Yeah, I love that. Being proactive in this space and making it comfortable, so that our members and people who visit our clubs know that there is a process in place and they can rely on that, is super important. And I guess the other thing I think of, and this is coming from, I guess, my small business background and thinking about things like WHS as well, is ensuring that we talk about it regularly at our committee meetings and address it and make sure that we're across it regularly. It's not just something that is reactive. Again, at a committee level, we're proactive in going, how are we sitting? Where are we at? What training have we done?
Absolutely. And that's, you know, it's a regular item on our board's agenda meetings. It's a regular item at our leadership meetings. You know, it's something that we're always talking about. We've just put together, you know, our Safeguarding Children action plan for the next, you know, 12 to 18 months. And these are all things that we're working on all the time. So I think just as importantly, it's important for those clubs for our clubs to be including on their agenda items as well, for sure.
That's brilliant, Tiana. Thank you. Do you have any other final comments? Because I think we've covered it.
Yeah, I guess you know, if there is any concerns or questions, feel free to shoot them through to us. We're always available. You know, the clubs that really have really effective member protection information officers I chat with all the time, and they always call me, and it could be, you know, the smallest issue, but they just want advice on how to handle it, and that is fine. You know, we don't expect everyone to have all the answers. But having that person in place so that we have a contact at the club that we know we can work with to build their skills. And those member protection information officer courses, it's a mouthful sometimes, they're $25. So they're not overly expensive, and it's well worth the investment. I think if a club doesn't have that person in place, they're opening themselves up to, you know, any potential issues, you know, that may arise. And we just want to make sure that we provide the safest sport for our community.
100%, mate. Spot on. And thank you again for the reassurance to our stakeholders that, hey, at any point we're available, whether it's through your CDO, through myself as the RTM, or going directly to the memberships team. There's avenues that we can assist you in. So, mate, thank you.
No problem.
That was really insightful and great, and hopefully our stakeholders got a lot out of it, and we start seeing a lot more MPIOs and really, I guess, best practice member protection at all of our venues.
Absolutely. That'd be fantastic. I mean, the goal is to have all our clubs with outstanding MPIOs and just, you know, communicating and marketing for all their members and children. So any support we can provide, happy to.
Brilliant. Good on you, Tiana. Thanks for your time.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
So there you have it, guys. A high-level view as to what best practice is when it comes to member protection and child safety. Clearly, we have a whole range of resources available for our clubs, committees and coaches to access. Our CDOs will be in touch, and they'll help you to ensure that you're doing everything you can to ensure member protection and child safety at your venue. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.